everybody, welcome back to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew, and once again, this video is all elite, because today we're taking a look at another statue from Diamond Select as part of their AEW All Elite Wrestling figure PVC diorama statue thing. It's a mouthful, as it always is. We're looking at AEW statues, and so far in the lineup we've looked at CM Punk and we looked at Jon Moxley. And today we have the third entry in this series, and well, I think Tony Schiavone would say it best, but it's Sting! That's all you're getting out of me, folks. So today we're looking at the Stinger himself. He is finally immortalized in statue form. I don't think Sting has ever had a statue before. I mean, he's had some like big rubber guy type figures. He's had plenty of action figures, and he's had his own pillow buddies and that kind of thing, but never a statue as far as I can think of. So this is the first time we've had him in this format, and I will admit that my expectations are very high. I'm feeling pretty optimistic about this piece being awesome, and I genuinely hope that it is, because I want a piece like this. I want this signed by the man himself one of these days if it's good. So let's go ahead. First things first, before we get him out of the box, let's take a look at this packaging. And it's like all the other AEW statues out there, and really any other PVC figure dioramas that you'll get from Diamond Select. Just a simple box. In this case, there's really very little design elements on it. Most of the PVC boxes tend to not have much. They're just one solid color and some logos. And case in point, we've got the AEW logo on the front here, as well as this big old window to let you see inside the packaging. And then on the side, we've got, again, another window, AEW logo, and hey, guess what? Spoiler alert, another AEW logo and a window. So pretty much the same thing across the board. And let's not forget, as always, that Diamond Select sunroof, which in the case of Sting is actually kind of perfect. So you can just like maybe have him rappel down into his own packaging if you wanted. That actually works for once. As far as the back of the packaging goes, we have an image of the statue of Sting here, as well as, well, not a bio information about the wrestler. There's no biographical information about him, but what we do have is like his weight, his height, his signature move, his hometown. So it's almost like the back of a trading card in that aspect. And we've also got to look at two of the other statues that are joining Sting in this lineup. One of them has already come out, which is Jon Moxley, who we've already reviewed on this channel. So if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and look through our archives to find a link to that. And we've also got Bryan Danielson. He is on the way. He is number 4, I believe, and then he'll be followed by Chris Jericho. But the most important information on the back of this box here is who made this piece. We can credit the design to Gabriel Casada and the hand sculpting by Patrick Pigot. So that's a look at our Stinger in the packaging, mint on card, if you will. Let's go ahead and get him now out of the box, into the ring, and take a closer look at him from all angles. All right, and our Sting is out of the packaging now. I did say let's put him into the ring, but we don't have a ring today, we just have a table, but you guys get the idea, you know what I meant. And joining our Sting today also for this review, we've got the Jon Moxley and the CM Punk. This is our motley crew of statues that will be joining Sting here today. So let's go ahead and dive on into things here, and initial thoughts, first impressions. I think of the three, this is easily my favorite of the statues so far. It's not even really an argument here. I thought Moxley was pretty good. There are some issues here and there. I liked the belt, whatever. And I thought Punk was just fine, but nothing outstanding. But I think Sting is definitely like the best rendition of anybody we've seen in this lineup so far. And I think he's going to be the one to beat moving forward also. You know, again, we know that Bryan Danielson and Jericho are next. I've seen them up close in person at Toy Fair and other events, and they're good, but I think Sting is going to be the torchbearer for this line, and we'll see if anybody can take that candle away from him. So let's go ahead and start this off by taking a look at the head. Let's talk about this likeness here. And does this statue look like good old Steve Borden? And again, I have to say that yes, this is an easy yes here. I think every single feature about this statue looks just like Sting. And in particular, this is like the, well, I don't want to say old man Sting, but this is the current version of Sting. This definitely feels like him. It looks like him. The jaw is spot on. The cheeks are correct. The eyes, the nose, the mouth, the lips. Everything about it is perfect, even the hairline too. Now, mind you, this is meant to be more of the slick-backed older Sting, so he might not have as much hair in real life, but in statue form, luckily we kind of hide a little bit of that there, so not noticeable. Still looks great, and that almost makes it like an all ages kind of Sting too, for any kind of Sting era that you want it to be from. One of the nice things about this too, we're gonna go into paint a little bit right now, is because of the fact that his face is all white with a little bit of the black makeup effect in there too, that does actually kind of hide some of the detail you might otherwise be noticing with these other statues. Like for example, with Moxley and with Punk, there's nothing really to like hide any of the imperfections in their faces, or the way the sculpting might be, but thanks to the white, it actually kind of flattens out his head and his face. So if there is a spot that maybe is a little bit off or whatever, it's really much harder to notice, and that's a great boon to this statue. Moving on, let's go ahead and start working our way down here. Now, the pose itself is not necessarily the most exciting, and it might actually be the most accurate too. I'm trying to think back to the moment here. I don't think there were steps on that entrance area, but as far as dramatic flair goes, you can't beat steps kind of thing here. I think that looks still really cool. The pose is very stoic, but very commanding at the same time, because this is Sting meant to be as he's walking out for Winter is Coming when he made his debut. This is his grand first ever entrance in AEW, so there is a lot of gravitas in this piece here. Now, one thing I did notice, by the way, as far as accuracy of some things go here, I'm going to get some of the negatives out of the way right now, which you could argue maybe is or are not negatives. Some of that is English, we'll see. But some things are a little bit off here. The first thing I want to point out as far as being off is actually the t-shirt. So the shirt that this Stinger here is currently wearing is not what he actually wore when he made his entrance. What's on the statue here is just a generic scorpion and Sting's name, that's it. Whereas at Winter is Coming, Sting wore a shirt with his face on it. It's, I know, kind of like a weird thing that wrestlers do, but yeah, it was same logo, well, similar logo, not quite the same logo, but a similar Sting logo with Sting's actual face on it and a lot more design elements. And chances are Diamond probably didn't do that because I get the feeling they probably would have had to pay AEW more money to license that t-shirt into statue form. So instead, they just did their own thing. So, you know, hey, just something you might want to be aware of if that matters to you. And likewise, the only other inconsistent thing I could consider discussing here would be the entrance stage itself, and in particular, this chunk over here on the side. This is meant to be part of the entrance tunnel, but let's take a moment and break this down, right? So this is the entrance tunnel where Sting would have walked out of. Why is it shorter than Sting? So in other words, they basically had to shrink this thing down because you can see the size of Sting here. He ain't walking through that without bending his body halfway over. Now, the obvious answer is, again, it comes down to budget, sculpting, constraints, that kind of thing. Because if this thing was actually meant to be the size it would have been, this piece here would be, you know, about this tall. That would be a lot of empty space. It would also at that point too become a lot easier to potentially break off in shipping or whatever. So it's an artistic choice. I don't hate it. I actually think it's really cool. I think it works this way because it is the same height here. You can see it kind of like cycles right to where the top of his head is. So as far as the design element goes, that actually works really great. But if you're like a stickler for super duper accuracy, then, you know, you might be a little annoyed at that, but I really don't think it detracts from the piece at all. Speaking of further details too, we can really look at the rest of this jacket here. There is so much going on in this trench coat. We have all sorts of ornate elements in his lapel over here, on his sleeves, on the collars, on these sort of like buckle things that are going across the down part of his jacket there. Just golden, shiny bits here and there. This looks very similar, if not identical, to what he wore at Winter is Coming. He does have a red scorpion on the back here. I can't recall what the back of his outfit looked like. I don't know if he has something different or not. I'm going to assume that based on how the front of the shirt was, that maybe they aren't going one-to-one as far as accuracy goes with this little scorpion guy in his back here. But you're really never going to see that detail anyway. I mean, honestly, I have the first Jazzwares AEW Sting figure. It doesn't even have a scorpion on the back of it at all. So, you know, it really doesn't matter that much to me. It's more about what's going on here in this front section, and that's all good for me. Beyond that, the outfit looks really great. It's him in his wrestling gear, you know, the big old puffy Sting pants. Only Sting ever wore this outfit, and man, is this thing so iconic, and it's very cool to have it here in this statue form. It looks just like it was pulled right out of the ring. That's really cool. And of course, we should mention too, he has his gloves. But again, these are not the typical mechanics gloves you would see him wear. This is the Diamond Select unlicensed version, but you can still see that a lot of the sculpting detail is very, very close to what he would actually be wearing in the ring, minus all the logos and that kind of stuff. And last but not least, the most important part of the statue really is that baseball bat. And this one here, really cool. It looks like it is starting to bend a little bit. You might be able to straighten it out. It's very minimal. I don't see it really flopping over too much more than it is because thankfully it is resting across his shoulder here. Over time, a lot of statues, you know, depending on how they're built, they might start bending over due to heat or all sorts of things. I think with this bat though, you're probably okay from having it warp too much over time. Now let's get into the base here. The base is very cool. Again, might not be 100% accurate to what the actual stage was like at Winter is Coming. I don't think there were steps in it. I could be wrong about that. But you still have, like, you know, the lights on the side here. We already mentioned the entrance tunnel here. Even if it's not 100% accurate, I don't really care, to be completely honest. If this was a figure, I'd feel differently, but because it's a statue, I'm allowing some artistic liberty. And I think the choices that they made work overall. So again, like, I'm pretty positive, like, you would never find any kind of entrance area with this sort of like pop-up little, you know, bubble thing going on here. Like, I don't even know how that makes sense unless it's like some kind of padding perhaps, which I don't think they had on that entrance ramp because it was metal. So again, it's a design choice that I don't hate, just something you should be aware of. but I still think it works. I think it looks really cool the way that the light is reflecting off it. I'm happy that it's, you know, a different material, because otherwise it might just have been a flat whatever. And these aren't meant to be ring steps either. These are not ring steps. This is still the entrance area. So whatever they're doing, it's a choice, and it's a choice that they made that I am all for. I'm happy with the way it looks top to bottom. So let me just squeeze in our other statues right here. Let's give you guys my final thoughts on the Sting one last time, do a little bit of a comparison here. And, you know, overall, this Sting is amazing. Like, really, this is the best AEW statue that Diamond has done to date. And I see them having a tough time topping this one, that's for sure. You know, compared to these other two guys here, you know, again, CM Punk, he looks really cool, and it definitely fits Punk's vibe. Likewise with Moxley. I mean, really, you can't deny the personality in all these statues. It's always going to be unique, and those larger-than-life wrestling personas are on display here. It works really well. But I think as far as, like, top to bottom, I'm going to be saying that Sting is, like, just the best design-wise, sculpting-wise, aesthetically pleasing. I mean, even just going one step further here, you know, like, I'm going to go back to this base for a minute here, because again, like, this is all about their personalities to a degree, more or less. I mean, Punk is a ring, it's whatever. Moxley's just doing his entrance. And then I noticed that Sting here, right, he's got the entrance tunnel. I just realized, like, this maybe is meant to be a scorpion tail. Like, if that's a design choice made based on that, then that's some big brain thinking right there. And that's really, really cool. That's really clever. So you really can't top something like that. From the amazing sculpting on the face, the very smooth paint job with no splotching, no messes up anywhere. You know, like, you didn't hear me complain about the paint once for a reason, because it's just perfect, really top to bottom. Just great looking outfit, wonderful choice on the base and all those different design elements. Like, everything about this piece works together. It is simply a masterpiece. And to be honest, the one downside is I really wish there kind of was a smoother part of the statue, because, man, wouldn't this be cool to get signed by Sting at an event? I've had the pleasure of having a few things signed by him in the past, and I feel like this would be a really fun one to get. Like, maybe have a signature across this part here. I don't know, but I could definitely see this being a really cool piece to go bring it to a convention and have it autographed. So, yeah, I really think, you know, as far as these AEW pieces, and even looking ahead to Bryan Danielson and looking ahead to Chris Jericho, of the 5, I would still say that I think Sting is the number one, and if you're going to just buy one, it's definitely the man called Sting. But hey, let me know what you think about this statue in the comments below. Let me know if you think this Sting should be tossed out of the ring, or if he's a keeper and going to be a champion in your collection. And if you want to pick one of these up for yourselves, go ahead and check out my affiliate links in the description of this video below. If you click on any of those links, it helps support this YouTube channel at no additional cost to you. So that's our look at Diamond Select's All Elite Wrestling PVC figure diorama statue of Sting. 10 out of 10, masterpiece. Diamond, you got the Scorpion deadlock in this one. This is amazing. So until next time, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the ring one more time coming up soon.